Is Fox News ignoring today's jobs report? Well, you're all ignoring today's jobs report. You've always ignored the jobs report. Because just because Fox News isn't talking about it because they don't want to exalt Obama does not necessarily mean they're telling the truth, even if they were to talk about it. Because that's the problem with the American country and American politics. They assume that just because their brand of liars and cheaters and schemers are not their own, they're the bad guys. No, you're both the bad guys. You both are not talking about how we are nearing a 20% unemployment rate. And just because in your mind that isn't unemployment because you have part-time workers and seasonal workers, does not mean that they can afford to feed their families. It does not mean they can afford to live out on their own. It does not construed the fact that a lot of young people have nowhere to go, and they're being pressured by their families and bullshit friends and everything to go out and work like it's so easy, and it's not. You can't just get up and go work. It doesn't work that way. And the more and more, just everyone's ignoring it until one day none of you have a fucking job. And maybe then you'll listen, but by then it'll be too late. The idea that goes on today is that you go to college and it opens up opportunities for you. Most people do not want to do the grunt work. They don't want to roof houses. They don't want to dig ditches. They don't want to do something that is excruciatingly dangerous or just, mundane. They don't want to scrub floors. They don't want to do some humble blue-collar job, and that is understandable. If you go to college and you study hard and you learn all this bullshit, you expect to get a nice job. But that's not happening. What we have in this country is, even to get those shit jobs, you have to have a college degree, because obviously they're going to pick the person that has the college degree over the person that doesn't. So people work hard, they go to school, they get their high school diploma, then they turn around, they work hard, they go to school, they get their college diploma, just to end up scrubbing floors and flipping burgers on a grill, all the same as the person that didn't do that shit to begin with. You may as well be a Mexican. Is that what you want? It's like that Boondocks episode. You don't have to. If you think working hard is some kind of moral integrity, you're a Mexican, and you don't even have to speak English to be a Mexican worker. So that's what you've done with your life, and that is why a lot of people are upset. That's why we have Occupy Wall Street. And that's why Occupy Wall Street is primarily made up of college students. Because they see that. They see they've been going to school for economics and biology and chemistry and, engineering. And they're ended up working as Mexicans. What's up with that? Why'd they bother going into debt and working all their lives, getting good grades and making all the right decisions to be a fucking Mexican? And a lot of you don't want to hear that. A lot of you might say, that you shouldn't say that, Jim Prophet, that's racist or whatever, but it's fucking true. Every Mexican will agree with me, They're just trying to feed their families too, and they're willing to do the grunt work because they probably come from Mexico and they realize what shit it is, and they come to America figuring, well, I'll work hard, I'll make money, and then I'll be able to provide for my family. And they're finding that extremely difficult. Hard work doesn't pay off. Having a good education doesn't pay off. Being honest and sincere doesn't pay off. Having good ideas doesn't pay off. Being smart doesn't pay off. What does pay off? Well, in the capitalist system, being a liar, being a backstabber, taking somebody else's good ideas and marketing them well, having a rich family, those are the things that get you ahead. So maybe you should stop supporting capitalism. Maybe you should stop pretending that Obama is creating jobs for everybody when he's not. Am I saying Obama is a bad person? Am I saying that you shouldn't vote Democrat? No. What I'm saying is Obama doesn't care about you. Obama has his own thing going on. Obama is just as much in bed with the rich as Mitt Romney or Newt Gingrich or any of them else. And to say that Fox News is ignoring the jobs report because Obama is making things better for America is bullshit. Nobody is making things better for Americans. far and wide, America is a disenfranchised lot of working class citizens who get by day, hoping they can pay their bills and hoping they don't get into a car accident or something and are unable to work because they live paycheck to paycheck. And that happens if you have a college degree or you don't. The idea that somehow you getting a higher education means you'll have more money is ridiculous. But they feel entitled to it because they are entitled to it. They did work hard for those good grades. They did work hard for those college degrees, and they're not getting anything out of it. So yes, they're very pissed off, and that's why they're occupying in the streets, and that's why they're getting sprayed with mace in the eyes. Because every big business and, the governments are starting to see that people are sick of it. They're sick of working hard for nothing. And whether you work hard in the classroom or whether you work hard being the best janitor or garbage man you can be, you work hard. You work hard in your own way, and you should be provided for, and you should be represented by your government and by your peers, but you're not. And I don't just blame, any one person. To say that this is government's fault is not true. To say that this is completely big business's fault is even untrue. It's mostly big business's fault, but it's not completely their fault because the only reason they do it is because people let them do it. They support them. It is like having a bucket of crabs, and when someone tries to escape, the other crabs pull them down. That is the scabs and the sycophant petty bourgeoisie making excuses for the rich. And that is the society we live in, where nobody is happy unless everybody is miserable, except for the elite few. They get to be happy. They get to enjoy the land and the prosperity and the benefits and the health care. But the poor don't get to enjoy shit. The poor are expected to work their asses off, whether it be in the classroom or, scrubbing floors and babysitting your dog or whatever. And everyone's just expected to go along with it and keep a smile on their face because, hey, they're not out on the street quite yet. They're not dying of a treatable illness quite yet, so we must have a valuable system. We must have a system that appeals to everybody. And, if you just pick yourself up from the bootstraps, why? Because people aren't dying in the street? Is that the best we can do? Is that the aspirations we've set for ourselves as a society, that we're not fucking in Cambodia? And meanwhile they expect people to have high expectations for themselves. How can we have high expectations for ourselves as individuals when our community is not willing to have high expectations for humanity? So you think about that. You think about how our schools treat children like prisoners, and they crush their souls. And if you don't do everything the way it's told to in the textbook, you ain't getting an A, you ain't getting anywhere. And about how, the police think they can brutalize people because the people are serfs to be commanded, and that, they're not really people. It is only the police that matter. They're the guardians of this country. They think they're superior. They think the badge makes them superior to their fellow human being. And there is no accountability because who's going to investigate, the police officers abusing their power? Other police officers. So, and that's not going to be solved by a free market. That's only going to make things worse. But you're so fucking stupid, you're so brainwashed and ingrained with this bourgeoisie mindset that, you'll never see it. I don't know what it will take for you to see it, and I don't honestly care. I don't honestly care if you lose your family. I don't care if you get sick and die. I don't care if you become a vegetable. It doesn't matter, because you're never going to see the problem. All of you are in your own little autistic bubble about how the world is just fine, and anyone that's unemployed or angry it's a personal issue. They're just crazy, or, they're just not willing to work hard. As if that is in any way realistic. Everybody works hard. Everybody wants to be useful. but nobody wants to take the initiative. Nobody wants to take the mental initiative it takes to be useful, because everybody wants a leader. Everybody wants someone to come down from heaven and save grace and, make everything better. That's why I don't like Christianity, because Christianity suggests that we shouldn't try to make the world a better place. We should wait for God to make it a better place. And that if we, as individuals, try to make it a better place, we're being sinful somehow. Because, to judge not lest ye be judged and all this other bullshit. There's a lot of good Christians out there that don't believe that bullshit. But the neo-Christian, pagan bullshit that permeates most of Christianity does. And that's why everybody just ignores Christianity. That's why Christianity is a joke. Christianity is a joke amongst themselves, because they're just so ingrained with that mindset that nobody takes them seriously. Nobody cares about them. If they dropped off the face of the earth, the world would probably be a better place. And I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't be Christian. I'm not suggesting that the Bible isn't real to some extent. I'm not saying any of that. What I am saying is there is a virus among humanity, and it infects some people more than others, and it infects the Christians a lot. It infects Democrats and Republicans a lot. It definitely infects the libertarians. Everyone to some extent is a zombie. It is like we live in a zombie apocalypse, and everyone is infected with the zombie virus, and it has created a brainless, soulless husk that hobbles through life, doing as they're told by the vampiric overlords. They are the super undead. They are the undead that command the undead at the bottom, because they are cunning, they are ruthless, and they will do anything to retain their power. They are, the super elite. And when you understand that, you understand that it is a very dark world we live in. And yes, that is why many people pray for God. It isn't because that they're just sitting on their hands waiting for God to come back. The rapture, ooh, everything's nice. It is because they see just how dangerous and how despicable everything is, and they don't see how normal human beings could ever have reached this point of evil. And therefore, if there's a devil, hopefully there's a God, because obviously it took a devil to push us toward this, and maybe it'll be a God to revert it, to undo all the damage that has been done. That is why people pray to God, because people pray to God that there is a power greater than this evil that can overcome it, because they do not see mortal men overcoming it. And that's why I personally pray to God. But I don't associate with Christians. I associate with some Christians, but I can tell a real Christian from one of these fake-ass Christians. If you ask me, the Muslims and the Jews are better Christians than Christians. But, I'm getting ahead of myself. That's not what this is about. What I'm saying here is that, there is a job crisis. And claiming that Fox News is not talking about it because of Obama is bullcrap. It's all bullcrap. If you watch CNN, MSNBC News, Fox News, Fox Business, C-SPAN even, it's all bullcrap. They're feeding you what they want to feed you. Remember, it is the vampires that are telling you what they want you to hear. They're not letting you hear everything. They're not letting you hear, what's really going on, about how someone goes to college for 10 years, gets a good degree, and then has to end up working a shit job anyway for $8 an hour. They're not going to tell you about that, because God forbid a zombie should awaken and, get the remedy he needs to become human. Because humans don't tolerate that shit. Humans don't work all their lives for nothing. Humans do not work for a vampiric overlord just to get abused and called, lazy and stupid, while they are doing 10 times more work than their vampire masters are doing. You're not going to hear about that. But you're going to hear that from me, because I am a human, an authentic human, not some, abomination, not some abortion that just has flesh and blood and can speak, but is not really human. I have feelings, I have goals, I have dreams, I have ambitions, and a lot of them probably will not be fulfilled. And there's nothing I can do about that. There is no amount of work I can do, there's no amount of studying I can do to do that, because I live in a world perpetuated and ruled by vampires. And I'm not trying to say literal vampires or zombies here, because I know a lot of you conspiracists believe in that reptilian, alienoid bullshit. And let me tell you something, David Icke is a piece of shit. He's a psychopath, he's a manipulative con artist, and I don't even know why he has his fucking kids. Probably because he's a charming, rich son of a bitch who can afford to keep his kids despite being abusive and mentally deranged. Because he is as much a vampire overlord as Obama or whatever. If you ask me, David Icke is worse, because Obama has never done anything to me personally. Obama has never done anything personally to anybody. His politics might be bad, but they're bad for everybody. And the way I look at it is, well, if everybody's getting screwed, I can't take it personally. I can't get mad if, you know, that's just their means to the ends, as opposed to David Icke, who has done things to me personally. He's banned me from his forum, he's sent his drones to come and give me death threats, he's made it personal. And he's a motherfucker who goes on his, website and makes his videos about the Illuminati and we are reaching a new age of enlightenment and shit. And meanwhile, he acts like that. He's taking you for a ride, but meanwhile, he's pretending to be some new age guru and peace and love and bullshit. All of it is bullshit. From every single level, you will find zombies, vampires, and occasionally a real human being. But they're few and far between. And that is the only reason why we communicate online. Because I am not making these videos for you, the zombies. I am not making these videos because my vampiric overlords are paying me to make these videos. I don't get dick out of these videos. I don't get paid shit for them. I don't get any kind of recognition. You're not going to see me on Fox News, for example, doing interviews or nothing. I'm not going to get anything out of this other than communicating with other human beings that I am here, I know your pain, and you're not the only one. You're not completely alone. Maybe instead of watching freaking, some documentary about Bill Ayers or, Bernie Madoff or whatever, maybe you should watch I Am Legend or 28 Days or something like that, because that is more like what our world is. Maybe we're not in that, cutthroat survivalist movie phenomena. And if we were, that probably would be better. At least then that would be simplistic. We are merely fighting for territory and food and basic essentials like an animal. But we're even worse than an animal, because we live in this corrupt bureaucracy of class hierarchy and struggle and turmoil and depression, and we're told we're useless and we're stupid and we don't want to contribute anything, even though we go out there every fucking day of our lives and work. And that is so much worse. We are under a spiritual zombie apocalypse. And you think about that. That's it.